Okay, so I'm just going to loft one of these surfaces. So you guys have made all the connections, and you should have surfaces in Rhino, right? Is that where you are at this point?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to just pretend like I have all of my surfaces in here. I'm going to work with one, because you're going to have to do the perforations one at a time. So from the original Grasshopper script that you were given, the thing that we changed was we changed the perforations from circular to square, right? And we did that by making a polygon and putting it in place, right? So we took out the circle, and it's just in there. It's disabled just so that you can see where the original connections were. And we put in the polygon, gave it 4 sides, and made the other adjustments. Did everybody get to that point, or do you want to go through that again? You want to run through it real quick? Okay. So if I have my original setup, right, I take from the point where it has this PL origin, plane origin, and it had been going into the center of the circle, and I had been adjusting the radius of the circle over here by the hole size, right? I'm going to change this over here on the left. I'm just going to double click on it, and I'm going to put in a slider instead of a panel. Like I said the other day, I'm not quite sure why that was that way, so I'm going to call this square dimension. I'm going to plug that in to where the other one was plugged in. So I'm just following the wire for the hole size. And I'm going to plug it into, let's see where it was all plugged into. This thing is kind of set up a little funky. So it had been plugged into, yeah, just to the radius of the polygon and the radius of the circle. So all I need to do is replace the radius of the polygon. Oh, sorry, you don't have polygons yet. Sorry. So to get this component, double-click polygon. It's this guy here. And it's asking you for a center point. It's asking you for how big outside of that you want to go, and the number of sides. We're not going to worry about the reference or the fillet radius. So the points you're going to take from the PL origin. So plug that into P. The radius is going to be from over here, this new slider that we made. I'm going to drag back over here. So I made this in place of radius, and I'm going to delete radius or hole size. Right. So now I can adjust this, slide it back and forth. Does everybody remember how to make a slider? You can make one automatically just by double-clicking and typing in a number, and it'll make a number slider set to that number. Or you can go in under parameters and input and choose number slider. Double-click on it to set it to be whole numbers. And then down here you can adjust the range. And then you can slide that back and forth, right? And to give it a name, you can right-click on it. Up here at the top, you can give it a dimension. So I've got my polygon with the points coming out of the plane origin, and then I'm going to plug in the radius. So I'm going to grab this and drag it over. And I know that the radius is the third one down. So it's actually the second one down. It's annoying. So I'm going to plug that in over here, and then I'm going to disconnect the number of sides. So if I look in, I haven't set a plane yet, so let me go do that. In here, I need to set a surface in Rhino. So I'm going to choose my one surface that I have drawn. You can choose whichever one is at the time for yours. So set one surface, and I'm going to hide the Rhino surface just so that I don't have 2 on top of each other. Right now, I should have, red is a tough color for you to see. Let's see. I should have, what's the hold up here? This got disconnected. is this not making curves? This worked the last time we did it. So we've got that. What did we mess up? The bounding box. All of these things should be happy. Got this. There we go. So here are our new polygons. Here are our old ones. We need to set the number of sides that the polygon has. The reason that we're using polygon instead of square or rectangle is that we can use the same setup that was in here before, so center and then radius. I'm going to make a slider and type in 4 because I want my square to have 4 sides. And plug that into S on sides. And then I'm just going to delete this one that was here before. So I've got my new polygons, and you can control all of these things back from the beginning. The grid rotation, if I wanted that to be 30 instead of 45, I could set that here. And
Can you just zoom in on those 3 yellow bars?
these guys? Yep. So these are the original ones.
So it's the margin, it's the grid, and it's the grid rotate, and then you just got rid of the hole?
I got rid of the hole and turned it into a slider.
Okay, so you can keep it and just plug it in manually? or
Yeah,
just
you can keep the orange, the yellow bars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to complicate things. I
No,
just
no,
want to be able
no.
to make the adjustments without having to click in and
No,
type.
I was just trying to figure out.
Yep. And then the last thing I need to do is plug the polygon that I just made. I want the P from that to go to the output thing that had been set up for baking. So it's pretty far away, but I know it's the top thing here. And I can grab and drag that and plug it into this guy. So this should be the thing that I then want to bake at the end of the day.
What's the name of that one?
This is the curve component that was already there. And let's see if I can get you to see this. I'm going to turn it so just the selected geometry is on, and select this guy so you can see my squares. Did everybody get it to switch to squares? Did anybody get stuck with circles? Questions or problems? No?
In the size and you got rid of it,
Uh-huh.
you plug in the square dimensions into the square whole size.
Yeah, you plug that into the radius, the R on polygon.
Oh, okay.
So that controls how big your square is.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And usually those sliders would be over here. I think it was originally set up so that you just had to be over here on the left-hand side, making, putting things in and putting things out. So I think that's why it was originally set up that way. So that's the adjustment to get it to go from circles to squares. We had talked about during the last class, what other changes were made in class that you need me to go over? Triangles instead of squares. So how would you make that change? You guys are so smart. Okay, so 3 instead of 4. Now I've got triangles. Okay, anything else?
For each panel, I think we were gonna have it so the pipes that we constructed were hidden. Yeah. So sometimes they could.
I haven't seen anything about pipes, so let's do perforations first and then we'll come back to pipes. I might need a little bit more information on that. So, as we had talked about the other day, it's probably easiest to do this in terms of the workflow that we discussed once you've unrolled your surface. So I'm gonna turn on my unrolled surface, and these would be the planes that I would apply this to.
Aaron?
Yep.
When I unrolled my surface, I
Uh-huh.
was having trouble exploding it so that I could select each panel separately. Should that happen automatically? Was it something in my settings?
Let's see.
You hide the whole thing and then hit explode,
Yeah.
and it didn't do it.
So if everything was joined, you might also have to ungroup it. Make sure that it's ungrouped and exploded.
Okay.
Because when it's connected to the number dots, it'll be both. I think it'll be grouped and and joined. So if that doesn't solve it, let me know.
Okay. You have to do the change of the number dots before you can explode it then?
You should be able to do in either order, but you would have to explode it and ungroup it before you could select an individual panel. And somebody had asked the other day, I forget who it was, about getting outlines from the planes. So remember, instead of having to go through and physically perforate these, we were going to draw the squares or now triangle perforation pattern on top of it, and then duplicate the border of the surfaces, which has already been done in this. But anyway, so I'm going to go in, set this as my one surface. It's going to apply my triangle pattern to it. I'm going to bake that. I'm going to come down here to the output, the curves, and bake onto a perforations layer. Hit OK. I'm going to set this as my next surface. Then I'm going to bake, and I'm going to go through and do that for all of the surfaces that I want perforated. When I'm done with all of that, I can turn off my grasshopper geometry by hiding it. I can see that I've got my perforations in Rhino geometry. Some of them are on the right layer and some of them are not. I can select my surface, or I can select all of my surfaces basically by under the layer. Hopefully everything is organized. Select objects by right-clicking on the layer name and type in dupe border. And so it will duplicate all of the borders of the rectangles. And I can put those on I'll just put it on the cut layer for now, and then turn off my planes. So now I've just got the outlines that I want. Remember that we're selecting the duplicate objects, making sure that anything where there were overlaps, they need to be exploded first. So before I undo those, so I'm going to select all of these, dupe border, explode, turn off my surfaces, and then edit, select objects, duplicate objects, and then delete anything that's a duplicate. You just want to make sure that you are being able to control which curve it is that you're working with. So if I want to turn this one into the dashed line, right, I want to be able to make sure that there's just one line here and there's not a full line underneath it that's going to cut all the way through. Does that all make sense? Yes?
So you can make the line dashed in this program?
Yeah, remember we went through that last time we ran a script.
Oh, okay. It was the grasshopper one?
It was the Rhino script one, so Rhino script, run, or I would have to load it first, so tool, Rhino script, load, divide curve to dash line. All of those files are on Canvas, so I'm going to load that. I moved the file. But basically you load it and then you run it and it takes the line and it converts it into a dashed line.
So it'll just cut all those dash lines and
Yeah.
the fold easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Otherwise, you could just turn this into an etched line, so it scores it but doesn't cut all the way through. Like we talked about last time, the idea with the perforations is that you can bend it in either direction, which is more helpful. Your current shell is all convex, so you should only have folds in one direction, but so either way. Does that answer the questions with the perforations that you guys had? Angela?
I'm still struggling, but I think I just need to sit down in a quiet place and watch the videos again and try it.
So the process is go into the Grasshopper script, turn it from circles to triangles, right?
Right.
You know how to do that part.
I think I'm still struggling with it.
Basically, you have a circle component that has, in the existing, right? You have a circle component that has this, right? It's asking you for a point and a diameter. You have those coming in from other places in the
Right.
script, right? So you're going to follow those back to their source and identify where they're coming from. This one's coming from the radius, or I forget what it was called, like hole size.
Holes.
Right? And that's going to go into here. Well, that's what's currently going into the circle. The points are coming from the PL, I forget what the component is. It's the plane origin or something.
Yeah,
like
on
that.
the PL.
Right? So you're going to take this and you're going to plug in a polygon.
Okay.
It has 4 inputs. 2 of them are asking for the same thing. So the first one is asking for the point. So you're going to take that from the plane origin and just plug it into here. I forget if it's the second or the third one is asking you for the radius.
So when I do that, it does plug it in, but the other one also stays plugged in.
So take this, right click, and choose enable. And it'll disable the circle component. Or you could delete it. So the radius is coming in here, and then you're making a slider that has 3 telling it the number of sides. And then the output of this, the top output, the one that gives you the polygons, is going to go back to the beginning where you have the curve parameter, just so that you can bake that out. You could bake it from the polygons, just if you're working within the framework of the original script. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you know how to unroll your surface in Rhino? Yes? And then you're going to ungroup and explode so that you can get to each plane individually. And you're going to apply that script to each plane individually. And once you've applied it, you probably will have I would imagine that your settings are going to be the same for each one. So you just need to set it once and then go through the automation of plane 1, plane 2. Bake your triangles out into Grasshopper or into Rhino.
Do you bake it after each one?
Yeah, because it's only going to keep the record of one at a time. Yep. So you're going to have to go through set 1 surface, bake, set 1 surface, bake, set 1 surface, bake.
So when you go to set a surface,
Uh-huh.
you right click on the surface button. You go set 1 surface.
Yep.
And then it brings you back to Rhino.
Yep.
Now, am I working with the Duke border, or am I working with the actual
You want to be working with the actual planes.
plane?
Yeah, because it's not going to read a border as a
Border,
plane.
right, okay.
So you right click, set 1 surface.
So when I try, okay, let me keep playing.
Okay. I have every confidence in you. And if not, refer to the video. Okay, what else do we need in here? We've got a couple minutes, like 5 minutes left before we need to get out of here. Does that answer the questions about the perforated surfaces for most people? So explain to me this pipe thing. Is it something that you added to a script, or is it something you're doing in Rhino? Where is the pipe coming from?
He wants the structure for the shell
Mm-hmm.
to be a pipe layer.
Okay.
So it's essentially he's adding volume to the wall. So we're having, so we have the set volume for the thickness of the perforation wall, which is our exterior surface. And inside of that, he wants a framework made of wood dowels. And so in Rhino, it's
Pipes. So is he asking you to do that in Rhino or Grasshopper? Or did he tell you how to do that?
But for the shell,
no, we were trying to just do the offsetting and everything. It was all like overlapping and it wasn't really, so we were having issues with that.
So you're having issues with the offset, or you're having issues with the pipe, or what can I help you with? The offset, okay. So let's, I don't have a shell put together over here, so I'm just going to use a square. So you would go back to your original surfaces, right, pretend that this is my shell. I'm going to turn on some corner points. And move these around so you can see it as.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so this is my shell. If you join everything back together in offset surface, you should be able to get it to work correctly. I'm going to flip it. I want to offset it as a solid, and I want my corner to be sharp. And when I do that, it should offset correctly to the inside. It should join all of the objects together. If you offset it to the outside, it may... if I offset it to the outside, let's change the distance so that you can see it a little bit more clearly and hit enter. It should do the same thing. So it might just be that you need to join all of your surfaces back together if you've been having problems with it. Mm-hmm.
So, and then, so we need to offset to expand, and that gives us the framework for the pipes, but we need to offset and expand again for the thickness of the exterior wall.
Okay, so you need to offset twice, and then you need to take the inside offset and turn those into pipes. So you would do just that. So you have your shell joined,
Right.
and you would offset surface to the outside. Offset surface. This guy to the outside, whatever the thickness of your. What's the thickness of your wall?
The exterior is 2 inches on the outside and 6 inches.
Okay, so just make sure that the corners are sharp, that you have solid on, and that you're going in the right direction. So that should give you your shell, and then you would take the interior volume and offset it again, flip the direction, change your distance to 6, hit enter, and so now I've got the 2 outside ones should be my shell. I can Boolean difference those. So now I should have, did that work? Objects did not intersect. It's not treating this as a solid. So those 2 define my border. This one I would need to explode and then duplicate the border. And now all of these are curves that are joined. Well, they're outlines of curves. So you can pipe this. I want to chain the edges, or let's see if I can do it with multiple. No, chain edges. So this, and this. The end radius, I'm going to make it 2 inches. I don't know what. Whoa. Sorry. Let me turn off some of these other things. I'm going to turn off the outside. I'm going to get rid of the surfaces. Some of them so I can see. So dupe border. I'm going to get rid of the surfaces or hide them. I'm going to explode these. I'm going to select the ones that I know are overlapping. And pipe. Right, you can select them all at the same time and type in pipe, and that'll give you, everything will have a 1-inch diameter, or whatever the diameter is. Okay?
So I'm on the right track.
Okay? Jack, does that work? Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right. Well, thank you for your patience. We're going to get out of here so that the other group can come in, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
That's what I came to ask. The
Hey.
email said till noon, right?
What's that?
Email said till noon we were having class.
We are having class. There's the junior architects are in here.